Hello and welcome to Divine Me Time Alignments. This is my 2026 Self-Care Energy Report. My name is Beth and I am here to support your commitment to healing and knowing your true self. So I'm going to pull up my report here and share that with you now. Here we go. Hello. Okay. So the theme, overarching theme, is to be the light. And as I read through, you'll understand more about what that means. And we'll just go right into it. So I'm including 6 areas of life or themes which I see as being pivotal in 2026 to our evolution as a species. And by being aware of these undercurrents, we can be better poised to face and ride the rather large waves that will rise frequently and threaten to take us under. Now, I don't want to scare anyone, but 2026 is going to be a year of pressure. And while that might sound really threatening, understand that the pressure is necessary. You may have already heard this elsewhere. My impression of this pressure is its function. No diamond is ever formed without pressure. You actually already are the diamond. The pressure that is coming in is needed in order to break through that exterior egoic hardness that has encased and contained your pure light. So it's not a pressure like, oh gosh, pressure, stress, to be feared or, reviled. It is pressure to be embraced, knowing that it is going to be breaking through what has been so hard and holding us back for so long. So let's go into the first element here, the task of harmonizing. We are in what some refer to as the great change. When it comes to our personas or identities, there will be those who want the old world order to survive, who will exert more control and therefore chaos. And then there will be those, they'll be versing those who recognize that we must move forward, who will exert an urgent speed and their own brand of chaos. So we're seeing these two sides, right, which are creating a lot of battle. Either way, I'm sorry to say, there will be the appearance of chaos, an appearance that feels very real to even, the characters we play, even if we're aware that we are just characters in a great story. It is often said that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. This to me always seemed to dismiss in some way the very real challenges of the human. We are both human and divine, not either or. Though you may appear as the wave, we are really the whole ocean. And while that wave is waving, it is fully experiencing that, being the wave. Even if in the end, it just collapses back into the ocean and it was only a dream. I know that I would think that people who follow me would be understanding of that idea of the wave and the ocean as it relates to, our awakening, really. It's a metaphor for ourselves. We think we are these people, these characters walking around, these we take so much personal importance in our identity, in who we think we are. And that's the wave. And what we want to do is understand where we come from, that greater wholeness, that spaciousness. Our task in 2026, if we choose to accept it, which I hope we all will, is to harmonize ourselves with what lies outside of that duality of, control to keep things as they are, control to change things really quickly, and just abide in that balanced place of wisdom. So that said, we have to play the roles that we have to play. Just remember your true nature. We actually need to have a foot in both worlds solidly. And by that I mean the worlds I'm talking about are the spiritual world and the material world, just for lack of a better word to describe the Maya, right? If we are standing totally in the Maya, obviously that's going to be and create issues. But also if we're just trying to step completely into the spiritual, there's no groundedness, and we cannot impact so much. The world around us will be too way out there. I've talked about that a little bit in my talk about practical ecstasy. So that's what I'm talking about here, going back to that idea of really being grounded and rooted as well as connected, and finding that place of balance within the self and in the heart of the two. Okay, the second theme is reclaiming money. Here's what I've been learning about money since 2024. And this is when one of my commitments to myself was to break the scarcity mindset that ran through my ancestral line. The system is rigged. Now, the world of finance is one of secrets, power plays, and traps. The problem is, very few people are aware of the ins and the outs of finance. Even many of those who are within it don't really know. We trust our financial advisors just as we trust our doctors, but we don't stop to think who taught them. Where did their biases come from? What information are they lacking? Do they know everything? In my 2025 self-care report, one of the suggestions was to invest for abundance. And I wasn't necessarily talking about investing in the stocks or anything like that. I was speaking to investing in that sense of abundance and opulence and access to those energies of prosperity. If you didn't take the hint in 2025, or maybe you weren't aware of me in that time, there's still time this year in coming to terms with the changes taking place, but not a lot of time. So the changes taking place across the world, and to choose whether you will subject yourself to certain control systems being put in place now, or will be the victim of AI changes, which I'm going to go into a little more soon, or whether you will rise in sovereignty around your financial situation. Take time in 2026 to learn about the history of money, the systems that have built up around it, and what makes a true medium of exchange or store of value. Most importantly, and I would underline this and put all sorts of exclamation points, educate yourself about fiat and what happens to it over time, again and again and again. Don't let yourself be victimized one more year of your life by neglecting or abdicating your financial situation or knowledge. Even money can be rescued. Let's start that again. Even money can be rescued from the taint of desecration. And by that I mean the desecration of money. It's the ignorance around what money comes from. What the energy of money is part of the divine. and it is being abused and adulterated, and it's so much of it is in the hands of those who do not understand what it is, and it's creating huge imbalance. And so, among us spiritual types, I guess we could say, there has been a rejection of money, a rejection of that world of finance. But it's all connected. Abundance, prosperity doesn't mean that you necessarily wouldn't have abundance if you didn't have cash. That's not what the equation is. But it's really important for spiritual people to allow all forms of abundance, including money, into their lives, so that there is more of a rebalancing and a reclaiming of the, really not the paper, the soul of money, so to speak, that is connected to the Divine Mother and the Creator of all. If that is interesting to you, I'm actually working on a book to share a little bit about how I broke through my ancestral scarcity patterning. It's called Healing Scarcity and Embracing Sovereignty in the New Economy. And I'm hoping to have it finished in the next few months. Right now I'm working on the formatting, working on a meditation that is going to be part of that offering, and just making sure that it says everything I would like it to say. If you would like to know more about that, you can always join my mailing list. And stay tuned. And I'll include the mailing list for that in the description. But you can also go to my website at divinemetime.com, and in the footer you'll find a link for signing up for that. Just to clarify that if you sign up for the alignments live, that's a separate sign up. So just be aware of that, because you wouldn't necessarily get both notices. All right, AI. This is going back to what I said I would follow up with when we started. So AI can be a wonderful tool, and I use it to assist me with my blog posts, although not for this one in particular. I like to make a distinction between what I create and what AI creates, lest I lose a sense of distinction between my own creative efforts and abilities and those manufactured, however brilliantly, by AI. We can either surrender and lose our humanity to AI, or work to understand and cultivate that humanity. And this is what is essential in the world of AI. It's most critical that we honor and love what is human, now more than ever, or we may lose much of our as yet untapped potential as human, as creators. My desk keeps clicking, sorry about that, hope it's not creating too much of a noise. There's so much fear associated with AI, and there's no question it can and will be used in unscrupulous ways when it serves those who benefit. But it can also be an incredible boon to life on Earth and human advances in medical science, education, and so many other areas that we might not even be aware of yet. It comes down to us, what we allow, what we believe, and how much of our uniqueness as humans we give away, as well as the systems that we put into place to regulate it. And we can't wait around for current leadership to regulate it for us. We must regulate our use of it ourselves. If you use AI for creative projects, own up to it outright. Disclaim what may be construed as coming from you if it really didn't come from you. And be highly skeptical of what is produced by others that may actually have been solely created by AI. Don't be seduced by using AI for anything that relies on human qualities, such as friendship, romance, therapy, or spiritual guidance and wisdom. AI does not have access to wisdom, period. It has access to books about wisdom and teachings about wisdom, but not the wisdom, the energy of wisdom itself. It just can't access that. If you refer to it for feedback or inspiration, which is fine, just don't lose your ability to discern the truth. Okay, the next theme is grief and exhaustion. Many of you may have already been going through loss and therefore grief in these post-pandemic years. Others will be just starting to more fully engage with such feelings as regret, sorrow, and inexplicable mourning that just kind of comes out of nowhere. It isn't easy, but grief helps us become more humble and honest. The tenderness of grief, if we allow ourselves to feel it, makes us more compassionate. And this works in conjunction with that idea of the pressure I spoke of in the diamond, breaking through that hardness around us. The heavy energies will require more time for tender acts of self-care and plenty of rest. And you know, this might show up in every single self-care energy report I do from now until the who knows how long into the future. Because self-care is so important to how we feel and how we treat others and ourselves. We must have practices in place: breath work, movement, energy work, visualization, meditation, journaling, emotional hygiene techniques, and I might add creative expression, to support us on a daily basis or even an hourly basis as necessary. Those self-care practices that we put into place will be essential to our ability to adapt to the ferocity of change. We're going to need to be very resilient in 2026 and going forward, so we must step up. We must acknowledge the responsibility we have for our own resilience and the regulation of our nervous systems. Okay, relating. When we think of relationships, we often think of people, but relating is how we treat, interact with, and react to everything, even ourselves, and not just with people. I might revisit that aspect of this theme in a future alignment, but for now, in terms of peopling, 2026 is going to be calling us, and this is just a start, it's starting to call us to find or be more comfortable with new, higher ways of connecting and engaging with others, simply for the reason that the old ways will feel more and more stale and unfulfilling. The old ways include small talk, gossip as a way to connect, competition, lots of noise in the external world, going along with the crowd to be part of the crowd, and unsolicited advice giving. So just maybe think about how some of those things are appearing in your world or have been part of your own habits in feeling connected to others. New ways are going to require more vulnerability and smaller or online gatherings that might include deep listening, learning to listen in a way where we hold ourselves in equanimity no matter what is being said. Huge skill that would benefit many. Eye gazing, just connecting through the eyes. Silence, being together and not saying a word. And acts of cooperation and shared intending. Just to inject here that these practices are part of the Love and Light field, which I share on Insight Timer on Sundays, and you're welcome to get some information from my website about that, and also in the description of the video. If you want to join us on a Sunday morning, you can get some practice with this type of energetic relating. So through this, whether in person or online, it won't make a difference. We'll begin to understand the true interconnectedness of us all and open pathways to deeper forms of communication and unity that will feel so much more fulfilling and real. So let's take a moment maybe to share in the prayer of St. Francis. If you'd like to just place your hands in Anjali Mudra at the heart or crisscross them over your heart. And this isn't a formal meditation. We're just going to simply share in the prayer together. I'll read it aloud, and you're welcome to close your eyes if you wish, or say it with me. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. And it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Take a deep breath. So I share with you here the prayer of St. Francis, which is endured throughout the ages for a very good reason. It recognizes certain truths about why we are here. What is our purpose? In 2026, however, the simplicity and the purity of this prayer has a greater gravitas in a world so very out of balance, in which self-concern and self-serving have taken center stage. We all have a role to play in connecting, or correcting rather, that balance. It isn't enough to recite this prayer. We have to live it. It all comes back to the theme, being the light. And you already are that. Thank you so much for joining me for this energy report. If you enjoyed it, have comments about it, questions, feel free to comment. Please do comment. I'd like to know your thoughts. You can sign up to know about the alignments that I will be offering in 2026, which will be similar to this with a little deeper practice. And that will be every month that I will be releasing one of those on either the first or the second Sundays. And if you want to be at the live version of those, just sign up either with the link here on the blog if you come to the website, or it will be in the description as well. And of course it will be uploaded after to YouTube, just minus any chat. And let's see if there's anything else I need to say. Just that I love you, just as you are. And I wish you very happy holiday making and an incredible new year. Thank you. Bye for now.